Welcome to the recap, powered by Cinelinx.com. I'm your host Matt, and these are the biggest stories that had the community buzzing this week. So our first story has to do with movies, and one movie in particular is Suicide Squad. So earlier this week we heard that Tom Hardy, the guy who was supposedly supposed to be Rick Flag, has now dropped from the project entirely. Now there was no official source as to reason why he's out, but we're kind of thinking it might have to do with a scheduling issue because this guy, He's currently doing The Revenant, which is taking way too long. He's also doing a press circuit for around when Mad Max is starting to come out, and that's going to be conflicting completely with everything that they want to do with Suicide Squad, especially with it shooting in mid-April. So he's out. However, the director has already said that he's kind of starting to look for some new person to be Rick Flag, the leader of the Suicide Squad, and he's starting to look at none other than Jake Gyllenhaal. So Jake Gyllenhaal could be our guy, and that's kind of cool, because a lot of people aren't too high on Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm not one of those people. I'm pretty excited. I like him. I think he could do a great job, and especially after the job he did on Nightcrawler, to which he kind of should have been nominated for an award, but it was fine. It's fine. It's fine. We don't need him. It's cool. So he's looking to be potentially the next Rick Flag when Suicide Squad comes out in 2016. And in more news, kind of going to keep it with the bummer theme, we've got Avatar news. And for those of you who are Avatar fans, like myself included, you probably are going to be a little upset with this news, and that is that Avatar is going to be delayed, the sequels. So 2, 3, and 4 are now going to be delayed even further, and that is because James Cameron, who was supposedly supposed to start having this movie ready back in 2014, and now they were supposed to have it ready by next year, and now it's being pushed back to 2017. The reason being is because he says that he has wanted to make a giant cohesive story that really just follows the next after next after next, instead of making one movie after another after another. He wanted to make one giant complete story for 2, 3, and 4. I personally am not one to really complain about that because I love continuity, and I think that sort of thing is going to be really good. It's going to create a beautiful story, and if it's anything like the first movie, I don't know how this can't be a hit. I know there are some other people who think maybe, you know what, just why do we even have to have an Avatar sequel? You know, I'm not one of those people. I'm excited. I would love to see it, and especially with the new way that people are doing the 3D, the 3D technology in movies. Why not? Why not just do it? See it, just have fun, have a big story, and just keep on with this story that we've fallen in love with since the first one. So speaking of movies that we love, Star Wars. We have to talk about Star Wars because it's a recap, and we can't do a recap without talking about Star Wars. And hey, it's hot news. It's coming out in December, so why not? Well, there was recent news that kind of got a little overblown that, Gary Whitta, a screenwriter, had kind of pulled himself from the project. Well, that's not necessarily the case. He actually took himself off because of the fact that he did what he had to do. So he got paid to do the basic draft, and then that was it. So that's all they really paid him for. So there's no real controversy here. So after he wrote the basic draft, he fleshed out what Lucasfilm wanted to do. He sends that in, and they went in, they made sure that it was all nice, cohesive, and tight, and beautiful, and great, and fantastic, and ready for screen. And then they brought in Simon Kinberg to really just kind of tone things down so that way they could make it less expensive, because the Gary Whitta project that they had made it originally was going to be way too expensive to film. So Simon Kinberg comes in, kind of tones it down just a little bit, but overall the entire story that Gary Whitta had created in this script is going to mostly be there. It's going to be mostly be intact. And that's mostly what most studios and movies do, is they bring in one writer and another writer finishes it. That's why there's multiple names under the writers. So you kind of can't really take too much overblowing with this whole thing. It's not that as dramatic as you may think, but either way, we're excited because we're finally getting a new Star Wars movie, and it's sure to be great. Gary Whitta has always done a great job, and I can't imagine it not being as good. Alright, so let's move on from movie news. Let's go on to the gaming side of the world. And we have a new trailer, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys about it. Mortal Kombat 10. That's right. Now, if you've got kids watching, you might want to turn them away from this for a little bit because this is a pretty gory trailer. It's awesome though, it's beautiful, I'm so excited for the new levels. It's very pretty, the backdrop of it all, and even kind of the fatalities are a little kind of pretty in a way, like if you're into that gory, pretty thing, like I guess I am for some reason because I'm sick. So either way, check out the trailer, we have it right here.
Where have you been, Kung Lao? Finally found a way to kill me?
I know of many.
Kalena Pava! Finish him!
Okay, so admit it, that was actually pretty cool, pretty awesome. Well, let's move on. We're going to talk about some more cool news with Nintendo. Nintendo released a lot of really awesome news with their Nintendo Direct. And in this news, they talked about the new Nintendo 3DS XL. Now, this is going to be their brand new system to come out. You know, it doesn't have a fancy name like a Wii or a Wii U or anything like that. It's still the same name, still the same name that you know and love, but this sort of one has brand new buttons, so more gadgets that you can play with, and it's going to create a better game flow, like a C-Stick, which is going to be kind of like, you know, when you're playing a controller, it kind of looks around for you, so that's kind of cool. And then the ZL and the ZR, which are going to be even more buttons for you to play with and enjoy your gaming experience. Well, that's going to come out on February 13th along with Majora's Mask 3D and Monster Hunter 4, to which if you were lucky enough to pre-order, you could have gotten a Majora's Mask 3DS XL version, which is awesome. But you can still get the Monster Hunter 4 version if you buy the pack over at GameStop only. You can get that for $199 or for $229 depending on the versions that you get. But that's not the only thing that they talked about. They also talked about other releases, like in March, Mario Party 10. They've also got Kirby, brand new Kirby game coming out, as well as so many other things that they wanted to talk to you about. But it's going to be mostly centered around the Amiibo. They wanted to make sure that you knew that with the new 3DS XL, which is going to have Amiibo technology along with amazing new processing power, you can now tap your Amiibo on there and it'll give you the function of using to access for different games, your different Amiibos. So that's going to be kind of cool. And most of the news was centered around the Amiibo. And if you want to check more of the news out, you can check it out on Cinelinx.com. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of cool stuff that's going to be coming out in the next couple of months. It broke out all the way down to May. So you've got a lot of stuff to look at for the next little bit. Okay guys, so that has been the recap. I'm Matt. Check out our other Powered by Cinelinx shows with SCNS Live and the Father Gamer podcast, and even our trailer breakdowns. We got one for Avengers 2, we've got one for Ant-Man up there right now. You're going to want to check it out. We break down each and every trailer so that way we can be even more excited for these new films to come out. But for all your news, reviews, editorials, and more, keep it on Cinelinx.com.